I apologize because the quality for this video is probably going to be really bad. It always is. It's no difference there. But I wanted to sort of show off some stuff that I got pretty recently. I went to Queensland about a month ago, and I got some fossils up there. Just trying to think of which ones I haven't shown yet. I do believe that this Megalodon tooth is new. So this is a Megalodon tooth. It's a very small one. It's actually smaller than the other one that I've got, this one here. So I'm guessing, same thing with Megalodon. Its teeth were designed in a way so that the largest teeth were positioned where the strongest bite force would be, which is the case with most predatory animals. So this tooth here, this is a replica, this is not a real tooth. This is my largest Megalodon tooth in my collection. It's not real, again. But this would be at the front of the mouth, right? This one here, this moderately sized one, would be about on the side of the jaw. This little one would be at the back. And the other little one would be even further. Whoops. You can hear it's like a resin, sounds a bit like glass. But I also got something really cool when I went to Queensland. I'm going to get that off there. This. So, it's got cracks all over the back of it, so I'm really concerned about this. But I'll try and support it. This is a Mosasaurus tooth. I'm guessing this is Mosasaur. This is not Mosasaurus bugii. I know that much. Or it could be, actually. You know what? It might be Mosasaurus bugii, but I don't know. These are not the bones of a mosasaur. Or it could be, but these are not the bones of a mosasaur. These are all around here. These are most likely the bones of a prey animal where this mosasaur tooth was probably stuck in the animal. And these remains have drifted off and the tooth was embedded into the animal until it decayed away. And the tooth was left collected around with all the rest of the bones of the organism. I'm guessing that it's a fish, judging by the vertebral column here. But I'm not really sure. A chunk of sediment just fell out onto my hand, so I'm putting this back. So that's, when people say, or when you might read, a specimen was found still attached to the matrix of a fossil is the rock that it was embedded in. That's that big rock chunk that I just held with the fossils inside. That's the matrix. I also got this new trilobite, pretty cheap. I think I got these from the museum, I just never showed them off. Or maybe I did. Got a couple new ammonites as well. I could have sworn I made a video about all this. If I have, I'm sorry. I'm probably retreading old ground. I got a skull of a possum, which I actually found. That might sound a bit gruesome that I found a dead possum. It wasn't really a dead... I mean, it was a dead possum, but it wasn't like it still had its flesh. It was just the bones that were scattered around. So this is a possum skull. A bushtail possum, I believe, judging by the incisor teeth there. Now these guys have really interesting dentition because they've got these massive incisors at the front here, and they've got their canine teeth, evident of a mammal or a marsupial, and they've got these tiny molar teeth running all along the lower dentary bone and the maxilla up top. So that to me suggests that this is an animal that eats very small quantities of food, berries, small fruits. Not a grinder. It doesn't grind on leaves or tough plant material. It's very soft plant material that this animal would consume. And those incisors are really to dig into it, grasp a chunk of it, pull it out, and just grind and just mash away with those molar teeth. I'll put this guy back over here. Also, I never really went into my Denictus skull, which I've got. I've made a video about it on this channel, but I didn't really compare it to Smilodon, because Smilodon, my Smilodon skull, which is enormous, by the way, it's my biggest fossil or fossil replica in my collection, my biggest paleontological related thing in my collection. Smilodon is a cat. Denictus is not, although they look very, very similar. Denictus is about as close to a cat as you can get without actually being a cat. I'm going to pull up the skull right now. So this is Denictus. Denictus is what we call a nimravid. Now, nimravids were these sort of primitive ancestors to cats. They lived in North America and Asia during the Miocene epoch of the Tertiary period. And these guys were probably very dangerous to early humans, I would imagine. There's actually evidence that Nimravus itself attacked a human and penetrated the rear section of the skull and drove its canine teeth into the skull, which is very, very strange. Because the thing with these saber-tooths, or, well, Nimravids are called false saber-tooths, but they still have these big saber teeth, canine teeth in the jaw. The thing with them is that their teeth are actually really delicate, so they probably weren't designed at all for biting into bone. I would imagine that as a case of the animal never seeing a human before, right? It's just, it doesn't know how to hunt this new prey item that's just showed up in its territory, so it leaps onto the back of it, bites down into what it thinks is its neck, but it gets a bit too high and bites into the back of the skull. I think that's what's happened, and it's pushed it to the ground. The human did die from the injuries, unfortunately. There's no evidence that the animal died, but I would imagine that the other humans in the hunting party would have hunted it down and killed it, most likely. But this is Dinictus, this is not Nimravus, it's a very closely related animal. It could open its jaw to about that wide in real life. The simple reason for that is to get that bite down with those big teeth, to really get that bite. Do you mind? There's some crazy noise coming up from it there. I think it's a car, but it's really strange. Now, I've always found Smilodon's dentition very strange, because in the case of Dinictus, you see it's got these canine teeth, and they fit in along the side of the lower jaw there. You've got these sort of bony phalanges sticking out beneath the bottom jaw, you can sort of see them. Now, these are not as exaggerated in other saber-tooth animals. Some of them grew, like Thylacospilus, for example, which I would call a saber-tooth, but it's not a cat. Thylacospilus was actually just a really good and interesting case of convergent evolution, where it developed these canine teeth, very similar to the saber-tooths of North Asia and North America. And it had these massive bony phalanges that stuck down below the bottom jaw to protect those teeth against damage. But it was actually a marsupial, so it wasn't related at all to the saber-tooths. It's just convergent evolution. It developed a trait that was very effective and very purposeful in hunting. I actually don't really know why modern cats don't have saber-tooth teeth. Saber-tooth teeth, that's a mouthful. They seem to be an extremely effective tool in hunting, and I would imagine that they would have been a dominant trait in predatory cats during the Holocene. But no, they went extinct. And so no Holocene animals possess saber-tooth teeth. Well, no Holocene cats possess saber-tooth teeth. Saber-tooth teeth, I keep saying that, why? Anyway, Smilodon, the big guy. Oh my god, it dwarfs the Dinictus skull. Okay, come on, off you go. It's really heavy. These both are Bone Clones replicas, these skulls, so you can buy them on the Bone Clones website. They're a fantastic company. I love their replicas, but they don't have many dinosaur replicas, unfortunately. It's a lot of prehistoric mammals, which is fine. So Smilodon is basically the king of all cats. This thing, I mean, you know, arguably the North American lion is the largest cat that ever lived. But Smilodon is, to me, the most powerful. Smilodon, to me, is probably the deadliest cat that ever lived. Not the biggest, but it's the deadliest. The reason for that is those big canines right there. You compare that to the size of my head, like, this animal was ginormous. And you see the size of the skull here. This is probably an extra large Smilodon, a male Smilodon. This is definitely a male, just judging by the size of the head, the sheer size. The reason for that is because if you look at modern day cats, females are generally smaller than males. It's a sexual dimorphism. So this male Smilodon here would have really been the top predator of his area. He's got some dust on his nasal bone there. But I just love the detail on this skull. This is a replica from a skull that was found across the street from the La Brea tar pits in Los Angeles. I think they were doing some construction, or they were digging out a new place for a building, and they found the remains of this guy. And his right canine tooth, his left canine tooth, sorry, had been cracked. You can see it there, all up along, splintering along. So he suffered an injury somehow, or maybe it was done during the fossilization process, I'm not sure. So Smilodon would have hunted in a very, very effective and very interesting way. It's actually really quite brutal and gruesome how this animal hunted. It's unlike any modern cat today. Smilodon's teeth acted like a locking mechanism. As soon as it bit down into a prey animal, it could open its jaws that wide to get those teeth to bite into its prey. It would slam them down, incisors lock into place, canine teeth lock into place, and the molar teeth lock into place. The flesh that is stuck in its mouth right now has nowhere to go. This animal is not moving. Smilodon would bite into the softest possible part. It would avoid the bones just to avoid damage to the teeth. It would bite into the jugular, it would bite into the stomach. It would basically bite anywhere that there's not a lot of bone going on. And he'd bite in, and he'd just pin it down with these massive, powerful forelimbs, and he'd grip it down to the ground so the animal couldn't get up and move around. And he would just use all the power in his neck muscles and his forearms and just pull back and rip out this massive chunk of flesh, and there'd be blood going everywhere. And the animal would just bleed to death in seconds or minutes. And all the Smilodon would have to do is just sit back and wait and watch this animal bleed to death. And you look at that skull, and you realize that this is the face of prehistory. When you think of a primal predator, you think of this skull, the Smilodon, the deadliest cat that ever lived. And it's definitely the scariest cat that ever lived. Definitely. Just a brutal, brutal animal. But I'm going to put him back on his stand. Terrifying. You can just imagine early humans encountering Smilodon. How utterly terrifying that would have been. Contrary to popular belief, I don't think Smilodons really hunted mammoths. I think they probably would have avoided them. I believe Smilodon was a solitary hunter. I'm of that belief. I think, it was competing against the American lion. That would have been a large group pack pride predator. But I think Smilodon would have hunted alone, or at least in very, very small groups, maybe 2 or 3 animals. Nothing like the big lion prides we see in Africa today. But yeah, so that was my little video. I don't really know why I made this video. I sort of just wanted to do something. I got bored and needed to make some video. You can see right there, I got some new Lego stuff. Jurassic World related. I'm not a... Oh, that reminds me. I've got a video that I will probably make about Jurassic World and what I think about its representation of prehistoric life. Don't worry, I understand the lore of the series. I know that, they've got mixed genes of all these other animals. That's why they look different. I'm not going to be going over that. I'm going to be talking about something else. Don't worry. I know people get really controversial about all that sort of thing. So yeah, if you liked this video, leave a like and subscribe, and comment down below if you learnt anything or if you have any questions. There's a link to my Discord server in the description. Join that. But if you're not really that interested in prehistory, please don't, because we get people coming on that are, not interested in learning. They just sort of want to mess around, and it's not good when I have to ban people and be a bad boss. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers, and Happy New Year.